In this video, we're going to go over how to write emails that convert into booked meetings. So our intention is to develop a list, send out an email, write that email in a way that really connects, resonates with that individual, and then gets them to schedule a call with us so we can find out if there's an opportunity for us to potentially partner together. So I'm going to walk you through essentially what the copywriter's mindset is here. And quite simply, the definition of copywriting is the art and science of writing words that sell your product or service and convinces prospects and customers to take action. So our goal with writing an email is to get that prospect to respond to our call to action. We want to come across friendly, like we're having a conversation, like we're looking to find out a little bit more about them, and then schedule a call to see if there's an opportunity there, right? So with the copywriter's mindset, the goal of the subject line is to get you to read the first sentence. And then the goal of the first sentence is to get you to read the second sentence. So what we're really doing here is we're capturing attention, and then we are essentially leading them towards a destination that we want them to go and an action that we want them to take, right? Now, with the subject line, this is the most important part here of your email, because you can have the most beautifully well-crafted email, but if you don't have a good enough subject line that invokes curiosity, that hits a pain point, provides some sort of benefit, right? Because you have to remember, these guys get a ton of emails every single day, and you're competing for their attention. You have to have something in their email box that really invokes their curiosity and wants them to open it. I mean, I get a ton of emails every single day, and I get very few far and in between that are actually well worth my time, where at times I'll even reply back and say, hey, I really love how you phrase this email, very enticing, although we may not be a good fit at this time, but I'm definitely keeping you on my list because I just love how you put together this very curiosity-based email and how it really got my attention, right? And I'll even take bits and pieces of that for my future emailing as well. So again, the subject line is critically important. You want to be able to get people to open that email so they can open that first line, right? That first sentence, and then get them to read that second sentence there. So now with the length of the emails, I like to keep them as short as possible. I typically recommend 1 to 3 sentences for shorter emails and 3 to 5 sentences for longer emails. So we're going to walk through a lot of different examples here of the types of emails. We're going to go over some templates. Now let's go over some subject lines here. So here we have 4 different types of subject lines. Number 1 here is the self-interest type of subject line. This type of email is very direct, straightforward, and speaks to a specific benefit that your customer will gain from opening the email. So here's an example. Do you have capacity for X customers at this time? So we're asking a question and we're implying we have the ability to generate customers, patients, whatever that may be for that particular business. Number 2, which is my favorite here, curiosity. Curiosity will get just about anyone to open an email. It's human nature. You want to have something where it's nice and short, just like this here, where you have the name and then you have a question. Or you can have, John, quick question about X, or question about X or Y, right? Whatever that may be that you have a question on, it really gets people to be curious about what you have to say about that, right? Number 3, the offer. This type of email is a direct offer. So here's an example. Do you have capacity for X customers at this time, right? So we're just coming across and we're asking them, hey, do you have capacity? It's a direct offer, pretty much letting them know that we have the ability to generate leads, to generate more customers, right? And it's just on them to see if they have that capacity, right? So it's pretty much a straightforward direct offer there. Number 4, urgency and scarcity. So these are really good when you have sent multiple emails and you have, let's say, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th email, and you let them know, hey, this is the last chance to X, or closing the loop, or something along those lines, where you're letting them know that, hey, this is your last chance to X, because in the email you're going to have, these are the reasons. Hey, we can only work with 3 to 4 clients at a month because we want to dedicate that time and service, right? We don't take on too many clients each month because we want to make sure that we're providing the best possible service, right? So these emails are really good, but they work better towards the third, the fourth, the fifth email when you've already sent, multiple emails initially. So then we have number 5 here, which is the news. This is really good here because you can really personalize your emails, and we're going to walk through a lot of the different personalization strategies here. But when you can bring up something about their business or maybe their industry, it really gets them to be curious about what exactly you have in the email. So mentioning something new in their field, such as, hey, did you know that, or do you know that X, Y, and Z just happened in your industry? I wanted to make sure that you were aware and how this is affecting X, Y, and Z. Number 6, social proof. This is a huge one here as well, because you are mentioning that you got X type of results for somebody else and they're happy and they provided you a testimonial, and then you're looking to see if that particular business would also like to get the same results that you got for your other client, right? That case study. An example here is how John was able to X or Y, right? And maybe you're reaching out to a particular company and letting them know, hey, how XYZ company or how Steve was able to get XYZ growth or XYZ customers, whatever that may be, right? But with social proof, this is such a huge deal here because you're no longer, doing a direct offer. You're no longer doing anything as far as any kind of self-interest type of email. This is all about the customer, and you're actually showing them results, right? Because a lot of people nowadays, especially in the online world, will talk a big game. They'll talk about this. Hey, I can get you this many leads. I can get you, this many customers, all this stuff, right? But very few have case studies and real live work that they can show that they've done for previous clients, customers, that they can show their actual potential prospects, right? So when you can show and you can say, hey, we've provided XYZ result for XYZ customer, client, how would you like to have these similar results, right? So social proof, highly recommend this one as well. Number 7 here, story. This is where you're telling a story, teasing at the beginning of one, really powerful because it comes back into the curiosity element there, and you're really getting them to become curious about what exactly this story is about. So here's an example. It all started when I was 5 years old. Just think about receiving that particular subject line, that particular email, right? You would be very curious to want to know what is in that email. And stories are how we can connect with people, right? Because if you're just telling people stuff and you're just, talking at them, that's one thing. And being able to tell a story of how you went through struggle emotionally, how you went through all these different hurdles and challenges and how you overcame those, right? That's what people can connect with. And that's what's really important when you're telling a story, right? So these are the most common subject lines here that I highly recommend you utilize in these 7 different categories. So now let's go over the top subject lines. Here are 23 subject lines that you can use for all your emails. And you can see here, number 1 is question about goal, right? Maybe they have written an article or they got some PR somewhere talking about they wanted to grow their business. They're looking to expand, whatever that may be, right? Number 2, mutual connection. So this is where you reached out maybe to a C-level exec and they referred you back to the director or the manager. You can use that email here as well. And then hi, name, question. These are one of the best email subject lines here because it's, talking to them directly. You're stating their name and then you're asking a question. That question can be about anything and everything. So that curiosity plays a huge factor there. Hoping to help, just a simple, hey, I'm hoping to help maybe increase your business, whatever that may be. Those can typically be read as a marketing type of email. So I would, be careful with those. Hoping you can help. These are really good for reaching out to the top layer individuals. So the C-level folks, if you're going after the VPs for if you're going after managers and directors. Then we have number 6 here, a benefit for prospects company. So here you're just pretty much stating a benefit that you can provide for XYZ company. And then X tips, ideas for pain points. So this is where you've researched pain points for your particular market. You know that they struggle, let's say, to get more customers, and then you provide 5 tips or whatever for that particular pain point. Number 8 here, we have idea for topic the prospect cares about. This is another thing where we have researched the pain points, maybe a challenge, maybe an opportunity for that business, and we're stating that in there. Number 9, I found you through, and then we can say the referral there. Maybe we contacted again a C-level exec or somebody above the line, and we have used them as a referral to contact them and reach out. Number 10, we have a fact in common, whatever fact that may be. Let's say you guys went to the same school. Let's say you guys have similar connections on LinkedIn, whatever that may be. You want to find something, common, mutual ground there. Number 11 here, prospect, I thought you might like this. So this is really good as well because you're playing into curiosity. You're stating their name and you're letting them know that you thought that they might like this. And that can be pretty much anything, right? So again, these kind of emails with the curiosity elements are the best here. And then number 12, do not open this email unless, this one is kind of on the fence there. I would test this. I mean, we've gotten pretty good results with using emails like these, but it's definitely on the line there, on the borderline as far as it being kind of spammy and people actually opening the email. So number 13 here, I can schedule 2 days next week to make the start, which are best for you. So that's really more of a subject line to be used when you've gone through the sales process and you're looking to get them to actually start up and get moving towards starting the project, right? And then at number 14, this is an email subject line that I use that works extremely well because it lets them know, hey, what's going on? So basically, let's walk through this one here. So closing the loop. This is something that I use where we've gone through the sales process. There's multiple people involved in the sales process, okay? And they all need to get together and discuss the deal, right? The whole project. After I haven't heard back for a week or two after I mentioned to them that, hey, I would reach out. So in this particular email, I'll pretty much say like, hey, I haven't heard back from you and I haven't heard back regarding our last discussion about X, Y, and Z. I'm going to assume that you've gone in a different direction or your priorities have changed. Let me know if we can be of assistance in the future. And I'll get a lot of emails back saying, hey, Juan, we're actually still in discussions. We have not, put this to the side. We're actually very still interested in moving forward. We just got to knock down a few things within here, our team internally, right? So that's a good way to make sure that, you're still in the loop in the deal, and that if they have moved on and their priorities have changed, that you'll get, the actual notice, right? They'll tell you, what the deal is there. So number 15 here, did you know about this topic of interest? So here's another one where you can personalize this, maybe research something about their industry, their business, maybe they were featured in some PR, whatever that may be. Number 16 here, a unique sales advantage over your competition. Now, this one is a little bit more kind of direct, can be considered quote unquote as spam. And spam is really in the eye of the beholder, right? So where you and I can look at an email and say, this is spam. But then somebody else can look at an email and say, no, I don't agree. That's not spam. And this over here is spam. So spam is really all on, how you look at it and your frame of mind, right? Because it's just a matter of opinion, right? So when we look at this one here, again, it is a little bit more direct and you are essentially going to be taken as somebody who's pitching your product or service, but it definitely is something that I would recommend you test and see how it works for you. A lot of these are going to depend on your industry as well. So let's look at number 17 here, looking for active and healthy businesses. So this is another great one here because what business out there is not going to consider themselves as active and healthy, right? So highly recommend you test that out as well. Number 18 here, hi John, I noticed a key issue, problem, whatever that may be, piece of code is missing on your website. or on X, whatever that may be. So this is really good for if you've actually gone to their website and you've noticed, like, let's say they don't have a Facebook pixel there if you're doing marketing, or they don't have like a proper SEO code, or they have, issues with their, actual website SEO optimization, right? They don't have the proper headline, the proper title tags, proper, keywords in there, right? So whatever it is that you found out that they're missing on their website is what you can use there. So number 19, your sales could suffer if you don't do this. Again, this is straightforward. It's direct. It's letting them know that you are most likely pitching them. So it may be less of an open rate, but you'll get a lot more people that are serious about actually increasing their sales and what they can do to prevent from actually losing business, right? Losing sales. Number 20 here, something of interest. This can be anything. So again, playing into the curiosity element there. Number 21, are you familiar with this? Another curiosity deal here where this can be anything here, right? And so you're getting them to at least open the email and see what you have to say. 22, again, what do you think? What do you think about anything, right? It can be the news, it can be the market, the industry news, whatever it is that you dug up or that may be of interest to them. Number 23 here, is this normal, right? And this can be anything. So again, the questions, the ones that have the curiosity elements are going to be the best, because it's just human nature for people to want to open up emails that have something of interest that, they don't know about or could potentially have an impact in their business. Email personalization. Now, this is going to be by far one of your best ways to get actual meetings booked, because what you're doing is you're personalizing things so that they actually get the first individual's name that you're trying to actually contact, right, in the email, in the subject line more often than not. And then you're also researching a little bit about the company so that you can state something that you found, that you noticed, that you were researching on a website and you found out that they have, XYZ initiative, or that they're hiring, or that they were featured in, whatever it is that they were featured in as far as a PR, public relation type of website. So this is the best way here for you to be able to really get a connection, really start a conversation with an individual, because they're going to see you as a difference maker, right? Because you're not just like everybody else who's just pitching them or just trying to position yourself, as somebody who can sell them XYZ service. You're actually having a conversation with them, and you're coming across as if you're just, trying to see if there may be an opportunity here. But we do this by personalizing a couple sentences here. So let me go ahead and show you how we're going to go about doing this. So as I mentioned, the email personalization is the best way to stand out from your competitors, right? Everybody else is sending, hey, can you take on more leads? Hey, can you do all this stuff, right? And you're not really asking a question, and you're not being personal, like you're having a conversation with somebody, right? So this is an email here that is really about curiosity. The number one reason why people read an email is because they have their name in there, right? You have their name, hey John, hey Chris, hey Steve, whatever that may be, right? So if you're sending emails without having that actual individual's name, then I'm sure you can look at the results and see that you're not getting very many opens, because you want to come across like you almost know this person, and they can feel that sense of, hey, this is like a friend that knows me. They know my name. They know something about me. So it's more personal, right? And one of the key things here is that people love to feel a sense of significance, okay, and importance. So the more that you can mention, hey, I noticed that you wrote XYZ article on Forbes, or, you were featured on XYZ article on Forbes, whatever that may be, right? Once you can make them feel a sense of significance, importance, right? And you're giving them, that attaboy, that kudos, that'll make them feel like you guys are connected, right? There's that rapport that is being built over an email. So when you're personalizing, you're typically doing it in 2 to 3 different areas. So the first one here is most importantly in the headline, where you are stating, something that you found about their particular business. And then the second one is the first line, okay? And then the third one is the PS, which is optional, but it keeps it conversational and it's asking a question, and it kind of removes the whole frame of mind that it's a pitch, right? That's coming across as a pitch. And I'm going to show you some examples here. So researching personalization. So what I recommend is that for every type of email that you're going to be doing, personalization on, that you spend 2 to 10 minutes max viewing their social media profiles, website, literally typing into Google, news or information on XYZ company, XYZ industry, go to their LinkedIn profile, right? Find something that you can use as a personalization. Doesn't have to be something big, simply something that makes you stand out and lets them know that you're not like everybody else, and you actually research them, and then you're giving them a sense of importance, right? Significance. So recommend that you just literally go onto Google, go onto all these different places and research those decision makers about their company, about themselves, about a project they worked on, whatever that may be, as long as you're really personalizing the email there. So there's 3 different personalization strategies that we're going to cover here. So the number 1, it's the research corporate news. So this is where you're researching on Google about XYZ company, or maybe about the individual, and just literally doing a Google search, right? And your headline can be, hey, John saw that XYZ recently did Y or X, right? Maybe they wrote an article, or they merged with another company, or they have a new product that they're releasing, whatever that may be, right? And then the first line, hey, John saw XYZ recently did X. That must be helping you with X, Y, and Z, right? And then the PS line, how is XYZ working for you? So the PS line is optional, but you are asking them a question about what it is that they recently did, accomplished, on maybe a new product that they released, whatever that may be, right? So personalization strategy number 2. This is where you've researched maybe a news publication site, a press release maybe on Forbes, Fox News, whatever that may be, as far as a particular news release platform that you found information about that company or about that individual. Here's a good headline. Hey, John, saw that you were recently published on Fortune or Forbes or whatever, Huffington Post, whatever that may be. The first line, hey, John, saw that you were recently published on Fortune. Sounds like you're X, Y, and Z. It can be that they're growing, that they're expanding, that they recently, released a product, whatever that may be. Again, right? You want to go and research and find something that you can put in there that is relevant to that individual or that company. PS line here, again, it's optional, but here's asking a question where you're asking them how it feels, right? How does it feel to be published on such a premier news publication site such as Fortune or Forbes, right? Because those are the big boys, the big players that, it definitely would be an honor to be, actually featured on, right? So you want to ask them how that makes them feel, because then you're really, building that rapport even deeper. And this is all done through an email. It's the power of cold email marketing. So number 3 here, you have the headline where you're saying, hey, John, quick question about XYZ business. This is just a simple, question, curiosity, or you mentioning that you saw them on XYZ website and you had a question about whatever that may be, right? And then this is more generic here. You have a PS line, how are things going for you in Q2? Now, depending on the size of the company, it may be a little bit too personal, but you can make it a little bit more vague and more broad as far as the question there. And then using the PS, right? I mentioned this is optional, but it makes them want to answer it, right? It makes it more like a conversation, like we're just having a normal conversation here. There's no pitching, there's no selling. There's just, hey, we're just having a chat here via email. And then it's best in the form of a question so that it gets them to answer. I mean, just think about if, somebody was sent the email, hey, I noticed that you were featured on Forbes, and then you have a PS line. How does it feel to be published on such a premier news publication such as Forbes? You're going to want to respond to that, right? Because it's a big deal. And so it shows that human elements that, we're really looking to find out, how that has made them feel that sense of importance and significance by being featured on that particular website. And the best questions to start with are with how, what, do you, where, have you. So just think about all of these here. How do you go about doing X? Or what is the process for signing on new customers? What is your process for taking on referrals? Do you have capacity for more business, right? More clients, more customers, more patients? Where are you in your business currently? Where are you looking to get to in the next, whatever, Q1, Q2, right? Where are you currently sourcing your leads from? Where are you currently sourcing XYZ supplies from, right? Whatever that may be. Have you ever thought about X? Have you ever thought about outsourcing or generating more opportunities through an automated lead gen system? Whatever that may be, right? The great thing about asking these type of questions here is that you can use it to qualify your prospects, right? If you're pitching, let's say, lead generation to a dentist for Invisalign, you could ask them, hey, Mike, do you have any openings or more openings for Invisalign patients this month? Then you can reply with an angle to pitch them on how you can get them more Invisalign leads, right? But you're just kind of gauging to see if they have that capacity or openings, right, available. And then if you're trying to sell a new spice blend to, let's say, a Mexican restaurant, you could ask them, hey, Steve, where do you source the spices from currently in your dishes? Or if you're trying to sell some like website design or website developments, you can say, hey, John, very nice website. I'm curious who built it for you, or how long ago did you build your website? Whatever that may be, right? But you're asking them a question about, whatever it is you're trying to find out, their product, their service, their method, right? And you want to stay away from questions that are too specific or too personal. You don't want to ask them, how much money do you make? How many employees do you have? How many clients do you have, right? You want to be, kind of open-ended here, and you want to make it sound like you're just having a conversation. This is the key thing here that I want you to come away with in this entire course, right? With the cold email strategy, is you want to be having a normal conversation with people, right? Back and forth questions, right? It's like a, text message, it's like a chat. You're just having a normal human conversation with people. All right, so that's going to be it here for this video, and we'll see you on the next one.